Smith, and I work at YMCA Norfolk as part of the Mind Matters team. So this little podcast me coming on today is we're going to have a look and explore some mental health difficulties, particularly anxiety. So a little bit about me first, because some of you have never seen me before, heard of me before, or even heard of Mind Matters, is that we go to different youth settings, so schools, youth clubs, and sometimes guide groups, anywhere there's young people, and we deliver mental health awareness sessions. So we don't go in and we don't go, oh, this is mental health, bish, bash, bosh, and then just leave. It's all about activities, and like I said to begin with, about exploring mental health. So we don't just say this is one thing, bullet point it, and then leave again. We like to have a bit of a discussion and get different opinions around it, because everyone's got their own ideas. As I said, we're going to have a look at anxiety today and look at positive wellbeing as well. So one thing I want to encourage you to do is get involved. So there is the stream chat, so any questions that go on there, I can try and answer them as we go along, or just if you've got some opinions about things, then we'd like to see and hear them too. So anxiety, so if I ask the question, what is anxiety? I'm going to get some different responses. From some people saying it's when people don't want to take part in things, when people are just on the floor crying, and actually it's not. It's not about, well, it could be about those, but it's not just about those. It's actually having a sense in yourself of worry, a sense of fear, and mainly about the unknown, really, or different activities that we might have done before, but actually something might have changed slightly, so we're not sure of how to run it or how to mentally get around that. And a dictionary definition is a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease about something within an uncertain outcome. So to give you an idea, it could be for somebody getting the bus. They've never done it before, they've never had to speak to a bus driver or work out where their stop is. That can cause some anxiety. To somebody who's doing their first driving lesson, to get behind a wheel, to be in control of something like that could cause some anxiety. So as I said, part of Mind Matters, we don't just sit and talk, and we don't just point at things and bullet points or anything. We're about activities. So one of the activities I'm going to do with you today is the gingerbread shape. So here is my funky looking gingerbread shape. Don't be too cruel, I can't do gingerbread shapes, but that's as best as I can do it. Now, what the activity, and I'd like you to get involved as we're doing it, so please do, and please comment and things like that, is that what we try and ask people to do is to think about why you may, or why a young person your age may feel anxious or may feel worried, and then you put that in the shape. So I already mentioned getting the bus. So pop that in, so getting the bus is in there. It could be that they're worried about exams or results. And a big one that some young people talk to me about is actually family. So lots of areas that might cause anxious and anxiety through that could be financial pressures, to just the relationships, because it could be that an individual is experiencing a new family blend. So maybe mum or dad's got a new partner, and you may have new siblings because of that. So actually trying to build relationships or trying to encourage positive relationships can be quite difficult when you're not used to it or it's something new to you. Another area that may cause anxious or worry is taking part in activities. bear with me as I write this one down. Taking part in activities. So this could be if you're a sports person or a gamer, and you've got a big competition coming up, or a big anything to do with that, and actually you're worried or you're anxious about it coming up, or how you're going to do, so the results of it, what's it going to have, what impact's it going to have on your life, and actually going forward. So taking part in activities, I mentioned getting the bus, but it could just be travel in general. With everything going on at the moment, it might be that you're just worried about travelling out of your community. So we'll put that in there, meeting people. So as I said, everything going on at the moment, I'm not going to say big C word because we're hearing a lot about it already, but actually meeting people can cause quite worries to young people, worries to older people, worried just in general, based on the fact that we haven't done it for a while. There's different elements to put in place now, and also it's just stepping out of your comfort zone can cause some worries. So we'll put that, out of comfort zone. So if you're watching this at the moment, I do encourage you to maybe take part yourself. Just do your own shape. You could make it even funkier, make it look like you, make it look like a fictional character if you're not too, not ready enough to bring it into yourself as such, but maybe somebody your own age, and take part. And as I said, I'll just recap that we're filling inside the gingerbread shape with those things that may cause us worry and anxiousness. Okay, now these all build up, okay, and it's okay for it to happen. It doesn't mean that you're wrong, it doesn't mean that anything particular is wrong with you or anything like that. It actually means that you're identifying what's going on around you. Okay, so I feel anxious, feeling anxious here right now. I'm not talking to anybody in particular, I'm talking to a camera. So actually, I'm worried. How are you all taking it? How is everybody else receiving this? And it's okay to do that. And eventually, what we'll do is we'll be able to reach a point where we feel our comfort zone. So you might get into the swing of things. Later on, you might see 10 minutes in, my shakes have stopped, and I'm actually able to talk more freely. And that might be with somebody who gets the bus. After a few times, they'll actually know what stop to get off, how much money they need, they remember their mask, that kind of thing. So actually they'll feel more comfortable. So looking at our gingerbread shape here and what worries a young person may have, what we're going to do is we're going to try and turn it on its head and think about some positive elements. Okay, so relationships. So a positive of that is that we do have relationships, and that means that there may be somebody there to offer a positive. So I'm going to write that. So there are people around you. And okay, so this isn't something that's going to maybe change overnight, especially if you've got a poor relationship with somebody in your household or around you. But actually, to know that somebody is there called family, or that is there of a friend, and that you can go on a journey with them together. Okay, exams. So not all the time are we potentially going to get the results we want, but actually they're able to challenge us. They're able to create a new platform for us. And you know what? We can always start our own story from there. So something that I learned recently is, I always say it, that we go on a journey. You know, we might go to school, then we finish school and our exams, then we go maybe on to college or an apprenticeship, and that's all a journey. But I'm starting to change my mindset on that to, we all have a story. Okay, so every time that you have a worry or anything like that, and you're feeling worried about something or anxious about something, that's part of your story. So you're able to deal with it there and then, write it down, write it in a book, you create your book, and you're able to put it on the shelf. So when something else happens again, so you have to get a new bus in a new area, you're trying something different, you're able to reflect back on the story that you created previously. So rather than it ongoing, you can create little snippets throughout your lifetime of a story, which is something I thought was really good. Another thing, let's have a look, meeting people. Okay, so yeah, it's different at the minute. Okay, so it might be that you're no longer able to run up and give them a hug. You're not able to meet the people that you want to because you might have big friendship groups, or it's a case of actually you're missing your youth groups. Okay, I know YMCA deliver brilliant youth clubs across Norfolk for varying ages and various people, and quite a lot of you are missing that, missing the chance to meet our fantastic YMCA staff and volunteers, but also the idea that you can meet your friend from down the road without having to organise anything. So something that a positive is from that is that you can chat to them online, you can message them, and also we do have the ability to meet them maybe out in an open space. Okay, now what I do encourage you to do is think about where your open spaces are. So it might cause you more worry to just suddenly go, yeah, we're going to meet at an open space. Where are we going to meet? Think about it logistically. So think about how are you going to get to that open space? What time element have you got? There's no point in meeting if you've got 20 minutes to get there, you can only see them for 5 minutes, and then you've got 20 minutes to get home in time for tea. Actually thinking it through, because that way your worries and the idea of anxiousness will reduce, because you'll know exactly what you're doing, you'll know exactly where you're meeting your friend. And this idea that you can chat and message, you don't need to message them every day with short messages. You could do some old-fashioned thing called writing to them. You don't have to write them a physical letter and put a stamp on it and post it, but why not write it down? Take a picture of it if you need to send it that way, but actually getting your words across in a different format to a young person, to a friend, to a family member as well. Okay, so this is one, like I said, one activity that you can do to try and outline things that might be going on for you, things that might be causing you some worries, and trying to challenge them. So don't just think, oh, getting the bus, it is difficult, I can't ever make it anything positive. Small things are key. Okay, so yes, getting the bus can be challenging, but why not say, okay, I know exactly where I want to be, where I'm going to, and I know it's going to cost me this much. The other thing is that why not ask somebody? It's not a bad thing to ask for help in any sense. So whether that's to do with your mental health and well-being, or actually whether you just don't know how to get the bus. Not everybody has done it before. So actually somebody else might get it all the time and would like to offer some help and assistance that way. Okay. The other thing that this activity can do is it can help in terms of thinking about the physical signs we have as well. Okay, so we've looked at what may cause anxiety, we've looked at actually some positives around it, but what signs there are to anxiety. So it could be that your palms get sticky and sweaty, it could be that you have flushed cheeks, which are mine, so that's probably why I'm pink at the moment, or some people do become a little out of sorts. They might be shaking, but they might be a little uncomfortable, so it might be that they're constantly moving about. And it's not that we should worry or hone in on that, it's actually just embrace it, okay? Everybody will experience anxiety at some point in their life, and if they haven't, they're probably lying to you, okay? Talking in front of a new person may cause anxiety because you don't know how they're going to retrieve the information and receive it, they don't know how they're going to react. It could be if you've started a new school, that could cause some anxiety because who's going to be your friend there? What's the teachers going to be like? Another one could be simply just doing some work. So I'm not that old. I do remember school that part of it was to write essays and things like that. And sometimes it can be worrying putting your work forward like that and showing somebody how you feel and needing that feedback, but you're worried about it at the same time. So actually don't worry. Everybody does experience it at some point. The one thing that I will say and will make key is though that it's okay to own that anxiety, but also to make other people clear that you are having troubles. Anxiety, yes, is normal in everyone and will experience it, but anxiety can also become a disorder for some individuals. Now, when it becomes a disorder, that's when you're unable to see the positives around things. You're questioning everything that's going on, and also you might struggle to actually take part in some of the daily activities. So I said, yes, getting the bus might be a worry, but you may overcome that hurdle, whereas if you have an anxiety disorder, you may not, and then you may not participate in activities like meeting your friend in an open space, and that kind of element. Now, it's really key to talk to somebody in that sense, not just because you want to let them know that you can't go, but also for that fact that somebody can help you. Somebody may have experienced that before and has got some great tools to share with you, but also that it is really good to share. It might be difficult. No, let me change that. It will be difficult. It's hard, really hard to connect sometimes with how we feel. And it's hard to sometimes put into words how we feel, but try it. Try it in any way you can, because most of the times it will make it better. Yes, it might make it worse to begin with because you're opening a floodgate of emotions and feelings, but actually it will make it better in the long run. Another activity that I want to share with you is my positive hand activity. So it's like having a helping hand. Okay, so we often say about helping hands in terms of it might help you at home, might do the washing up for your mum, that kind of thing. But this helping hand is around exploring our anxieties. So draw around your hand. Okay, I've got quite diddy hands apart from my thumbs, they're quite big. And think about your anxieties. So I've wrote the word my anxieties and then done a little bit of a drawing about how they might feel. So for me, anxiety is a bit of this like fog that you're not quite able to see through. You know it's worrying, and you know there's something on the other side is something new and challenging, but you're stuck in it. Okay, so write there or draw there something that hones in on you, on your anxieties, and then on each finger and your thumb a different element that can help you through that. Okay, so let's think of an anxiety being, let's do exams, okay? So I'm taking an exam, it's a tough time, we don't know what questions we're gonna have, that kind of thing. So that was my anxiety. And you can even write what your anxiety at the time is in the middle. Here is write it down. So journals are a brilliant way to do that. Just writing down, a bit like just a junk box of things. You can just write words, you don't have to write sentences, it's only you that's going to access that. But just write it down. Just get those thoughts and feelings on paper, away from in your mind, but somewhere else. It can really help just to get those thoughts out. Another one, go for a walk. So connecting with something wider than you and where you are at the moment. Sometimes it can be really difficult for somebody to go out for a walk. That might be part of your anxiety, is being out and about, but just get up from where you are and just walk around the room. And just that change of scenery and that movement can actually have a positive impact on us. Message a friend, it's got a bit smudged there, but message a friend. So I said earlier that you can chat to them, you can FaceTime them. We're in a brilliant age now where we can do loads of different methods of communication, so why not try them all? Not in one go, because a friend might be like, whoa, it's too much in one go. But try one medium. If it doesn't work, try another. Have a quiet moment. So we often, with our worries, we sit there and we then go from one worry to another worry to another worry, and this worry just starts really small and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But if we just have a quiet moment to ourselves, to take ourselves away from the situation that may be causing us anxiety, or actually just to think about something else and focus your attention somewhere else. and breathing exercises. Okay, so I'll just take a moment to explain breathing exercises. So it's not this element that you have to sit there, eyes shut, and you're like, like that. It's nothing like that. Okay, you have to get yourself comfortable, whether that's laying down, so sofa, you could be laying down, arms out, anything. It's just comfortable for you. If you're out in a social situation, so if you are on the bus or you're in the park or things like that, you might not want to close your eyes, and that's fine too, but it's an element of just focusing on your breathing. Okay, so 5 is a really good one to count for, so you breathe in for 5 and then you breathe out for 5. And we're not listening to whale music at the same time. You can if you want to, you can listen to punk rock at the same time, whatever is best for you. And that's the element, is these exercises are really good, and this one's for me, if you shape it in the way that you want to. So yeah, breathing exercises, you're concentrating then on the breath in and the breath out, not the worries of why you're doing it, just thinking about actually you're breathing in and you're breathing out. Another one that goes really well with that one is muscle relaxation. And again, you don't have to be in a quiet room where it's dark and you've shut curtains, anything like that. You can, but you don't have to. It's concentrating on tensing certain muscles and then relaxing them. Okay, so you often start with your toes first. So you clench your toes up and make them really, really tight, and you can feel all that tension. You hold it there for 5 seconds, and then after 5, you slowly release it. And you work up your way through the body, doing each muscle as you go. You know, and it's that idea that every time you tense, you can think about your worry, and you're thinking, yeah, okay, I'm worried about meeting people, and then after 5 seconds, you let that worry go. Okay. It doesn't work for everybody, but try it. See if it works, and you can use it in the future if it does. It's also quite a good one. It's a secret one, that if you are sat in class, whatever that may look like in September, or if you're sat in the lounge with your family, or if you're just out with friends and something comes over and you're just worried about it, you can sit and do that without anybody knowing about it. Okay, you can only see from my waist up, but I'm clenching my toes at the moment and holding them for 5 and I'm releasing them. You can't see that, okay? They might be able to see it if you're suddenly clenching your fists, but you can do that secretively to your side too. Now, I'm not saying you need to keep it a secret, but some of us would like to do it without attention, because we know that that's a good method to help calm us down in that situation, and then we're okay again. But again, be open with those people that you trust. If you're in a situation where you've met up with people in an open space and you're social distant, things like that, and you are worried about something, it's okay to say, I'm just going to take 2 minutes. Like, carry on your conversation. I'm just going to take 2 minutes for myself. I just need that time. Go take yourself off to another place, or just sit there and relax. Your friends are better than you think. A lot of young people, even adults, even my age, I'm probably an adult now actually, not a young person, we are afraid of how other people might perceive us if we say that we're having difficulties, or if we're having extra worries. But actually, it's okay. And we get a lot more help if we're open and honest about it than we do if we keep it in. So be honest. I have another hand. So here's the how we perceive anxiety. So I'll put in there worry, it's a fog, lots of questions. Sometimes people who are experiencing anxiety do ask a lot of questions. Why questions are a big one. Jot them down. If you've got a lot of why questions, jot them down, especially if it's about an activity, because somebody may be able to answer them for you. Okay, so this activity in particular, there might be people that are asking me why questions. I can answer them. This hand in particular is one that you might be able to take away with you and think about if you are suddenly feeling worried or panicked. So it's that element that we do 5 things that you can see, then you go 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can smell, 2 things you can touch, and 1 thing that you can taste. And it's in that moment. Okay, so I'll do it here. So 5 things I can see. I can see some plants on the table, I can see some chairs in the corner, I can see my activities. So what's that? Plants, chairs, table, activities, and I can see the webcam. That's 5. Okay, 4 things I can hear. There's a humming, I can hear children in the background, I can hear somebody talking in the corner, and I can hear my own voice. That's 4. 3 things I can smell. There's not a lot, but I'm guessing if the plants were real, I'll be able to smell them. I can smell my own perfume, and it's a bit warm in here, so you know that kind of warm smell. So that's 3, okay? 2 things I can touch. I've touched my knee, I can touch the table, and 2 things I can taste. I can taste my coffee from earlier, and I've done it, okay? Now, not all the time are you going to be able to have all those ones. So what you can smell, I'm in a room, so it's quite limited. But if you're out in the open, you can smell more. Or it's that idea, like I did, that flowers aren't real, but they could smell. What kind of smell would they smell of? Okay. Air freshener. Could think, oh, this room needs an air freshener. What kind of smell? That kind of thing. It's taken your mind off the situation that's caused you anxiety. I also like the idea that it is in a hand shape because actually it's easy to see. So you can also then transfer it back. So I don't know if you were noticing, but I was counting down with my fingers that I know that it's 5 things you can see, hear, smell, touch, then taste. Okay, so as you do it, you'll eventually not need a cue like this, but you can actually just go out and about and do it. And nobody really needs to know. You don't have to suddenly stand there and go, 5 things I can see, okay? You do it however you want to. I have another, so 3. So anxiety is, it's been rubbed, it's all messy. That's how this one's been depicted. And I've got number 1, pause. So just take a moment. Doesn't have to be a long moment. It can just be a moment of just catching your breath and catching where you are. Then number 2, taking in surroundings. So just remembering where you are, just taking in what you can see or who is with you. Take note of your body. So how do you feel? What's reacting? Are you getting warmer? Are you feeling flushed? Are you shaking? And just being aware of it. Not a case of, oh my gosh, everybody else is aware of it, but more a case of, okay, now I know what's going on. I'm able to solve this. Do a chosen activity. So I've mentioned some activities, so some of the ones that I've done here, so my hand and my gingerbread, but also doing something that's enjoyable for you. Not something that somebody's told you that you enjoy. Someone might say, oh yeah, this book's really good, here you go. Something you've chosen, something that you take ownership of. So it could be that you decide, no, I am going for a walk. I'm going to take the dog out. I'm going to go and sit in the garden on my own. I'm going to go on my game. I'm going to do some art. I'm going to do some poetry because I've just had some really good poetry. That kind of thing. Doing something that you can take ownership of. And then the last one is reflect back. So it might be that activity didn't work. Reflect on it. If it didn't work, that's okay. Try something new. Not everybody experiences anxiety the same. Not everybody will have the same tools to be able to reduce their anxieties, and it works differently to everybody. Okay, so reflect on it. If it doesn't work, try it again next time. So I've gone through there a few of my helping hands, and with this, you're able to then put them somewhere. So I'm quite a creative person, I'm a visual learner, so I need something like this. Having them colourful like that, I can stick them on a mirror, on a door, on a fridge at the moment, because that seems to be where I keep taking myself to, lockdown pounds, to remind you of actually how to cope in different situations. Another good one is you can take a picture of it. So with your phone or whatever you use, take a picture of it. You've always got it with you. Have it as your background or whatever. That way you don't have to take it around. Or if you are arty and crafty and you can draw a nice hand, I can't do hands, you can see from my blob there, I'm not good at it doing freehand. But you can make it smaller and it can fit in your pocket, it can fit in your bag, it can fit in your diary, wherever, just to remind you that if you do get worried, you do feel anxious in a situation, that there's something there can remind you how to improve that, rather than you having to think off the top of your head, which can be quite difficult. The other elements of having activities like that is that you're able to help somebody else too. So if you see a friend who's experiencing difficulties or is worried about a situation, then actually why not share your hand, your helping hand? Get them to, why don't you do it together, okay? Both sit in a park away from each other, take your pens and paper, do an activity, be inspired from those that are around you and the environment that's around you too. Swap and share as well. Why not do one for your friend? Another thing that you can do is write people that you can talk to. So it could be mum, it could be dad, it could be aunt, it could be stepmum, brother, friends, friends of friends, youth workers, anybody that can provide you with assistance when you need it most. So that, in a nutshell, is anxiety and worry and how we, can come across it sometimes. But as I said, our story, I'm not going to say journey, our stories, our life stories will take different turns within chapters, as you do with a normal storybook. There's different ways in how you complete chapters, how the next one turns out. And it's fine to say that this works now but doesn't work in the future. We've all had a big bump in our story at the moment across the past few months, and we've all come into terms with that in different ways. So it's fine to suddenly have to take a moment and be open and honest with yourself and say, no, I can't do that right now. I need to think about myself. I need to think about how I can develop my next chapter, how I go through that in the future. And the last message I really want to put across really is that each and every one of us will have different experiences with our chapters. Each and every one of us will be able to deal with it in different ways. And what we can do is we can offer advice and guidance to our friends. So we can help them, we can show them our different activities, and we can show them how we may be able to come across our own anxieties, but don't force them on anyone. What our way works might not work for them. So it's a case of information sharing, not an information forcing on them. And the last thing I'll leave you with is a Dr. Seuss quote, because I love him. He's just a funny chap who actually seems to get it right. And the quote is, "Today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive that is youer than you." I'll say it again. So, today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive that is youer than you. Okay? And for me, what that means is you do you. So you do any activity, anything that will help you, and then more importantly, that can then go on to help others. So hopefully you've learned a little bit more maybe about anxiety, or you've learned a different activity that you've not come across before. If you have got any questions or anything like that, please do message them across via the Facebook or anything like that across the festival, and enjoy the other stalls.